Places, please. Places for the top of Theater Countdown.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Doe, a deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of golden fun. And fun is what we have on Theater Countdown podcast.
Well done.
Let's get to it.
Let's hear it for the boy. Speaking of boy, listen to that intro. That was so good.
Listen, forget about the boy.
Forget about the boy.
Because I'll tell you what, a boy like that could kill your brother.
Kill your brother. Yeah,
that's right.
So better watch out.
But if it's only just one boy, one special boy, one boy to walk with and talk with, then, that would be nice.
That would be nice. Sorry, no, I'm just trying to think of any other song with boy, and my brain just went back to Millie, and I was like, but what about Jimmy? Oh, Jimmy. Silly boy. He's a real... He won't kill your brother. He'll just land you in jail.
He's a boy that you can be proud of your boy when you think of that boy.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, but we're both boys. We are. And we're your hosts at Theater Countdown. I being your Broadway buddy, Ben Cameron, and he, thy nameth beeth Juddy.
Indeedeth, it ifeth. Usually we save this for our Beth Fifth Chris.
For our Chris, our Beth Fifth Lord.
Yeah, who will pop in later when we play a game, which I'm excited about. I don't know what game we're playing, as we never do. But I'm very excited because I do so enjoy our games, and I feel like we haven't done one in a hot minute.
I don't think that's true. I think
there's been lots of games. It's just when
I think
in the way in
last episode what we recorded, we didn't play.
I know, but it just feels like it's been so long. So I've had many life changes. I'm now in Nantucket. I want to play. I'm doing a play. So I came to Nantucket, and I feel like I've been here for 3 days, and it's felt like years. I'm doing Sense and Sensibility at Theatre Workshop of Nantucket. I'm playing Edward. If you know the film, it's the Hugh Grant role, so I'm the bumbling leading man. Which I'm learning is just a great track in this Kate Hamill version of Sense and Sensibility, which, if you don't know Kate Hamill plays, she's just become like a master of these adaptations. She did Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Dracula. But Edward is like, he rolls in, does a couple of funny moments at the beginning of the play, and then leaves. And then they talk about him for like the whole play. And then I come back at the very end, have another bumbling moment, kiss the main girl, and then we end up together. And I was like, this is great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we did the read. I was like, And I haven't actually done a play since before COVID.
Yeah.
So it's a good sort of get back into doing.
Are you nervous?
The theater. Oh yeah.
Are you nervous?
It's a solid mix of like excited but mildly terrified.
Excited and scared.
Yeah, but it's good. We've been at rehearsal for a few days now. That's why it feels like forever, because it's been like I drove up to Nantucket. I took that 2.5-hour ferry, and then it's been 3 days of rehearsing. But I feel like I've been here for a month. But yeah, it's gonna be great. If you're in Nantucket, come check us out.
Anytime you travel, I feel like that adds, like, even if the travel day is like an hour and a half, it adds an entire day to your life of experience.
Yeah.
And certainly a 2.5-hour ferry ride, which...
Yeah, it was a beautiful ferry ride, though.
All the jokes I could make about ferry rides.
Oh,
but if you want to see those kinds of ferry rides, you got to come on an Atlantis cruise.
Yes. How was your last cruise?
I remember I was in Cancun, and that's why I've got this golden tan. I was in Cancun, and then I came back and did what I always do when I come back from an epic adventure, is I became completely exhausted and crashed out and then got sick. So
that's true.
Really,
and
because I give so much to the people.
You do. And the last time we saw you two, you didn't have a cell phone.
Oh my God. Well, so here's the thing. So
do you have a phone now? Sorry, this is not Broadway related at all, but you survived without a cell phone in this day and age, and I'm so impressed.
let this be a testament, everyone, to the power of what we project on our social media. Because I think you're asking me about all of this cruise stuff, even though it was 3 weeks ago.
That's right.
You're asking me about it because I just posted photos like 2 days ago from it. But the issue is that in this phone nightmare that we're talking about, and T-Mobile, please do sponsor us. But if you're not going to, here's the tea. What a bunch of freaking monsters.
No.
Who were absolutely unhelpful in every way when my phone died and I had it under the insurance and I went to the store and was there forever, and so they were like, okay, yeah, this phone is dead, it's insured, we'll get you a new phone for $5. So they put in the order. The next day I get an email saying that my phone is on back order with no like potential delivery date, no anything. So I'm like, well, this doesn't work in our day and age.
This cannot stand.
I'm running 12 different projects at all times.
Yeah.
There's no way I can be without a very portable communication device.
And how are you supposed to march down the street to a song that doesn't have like a jaunty marchy beat? Yes. This is, I can't imagine.
I was enraged, went back to the store, got on the phone with many tears of operators who basically told me to jump in a lake because there was nothing they could do. Their phone wasn't there. I said, but none of this matters. It was infuriating. And then in the end, and sorry, I just need to talk about it. Thank you so much.
No, it's fine. I like that Theater Countdown has also become about like just our lives and our trauma.
But so what the pictures that you saw are pictures that because when I did finally get a new phone, which was the upgraded version of the phone I had that they told me was absolutely 100% unequivocally impossible for them to send me. On the phone at 3 levels of management, and it was exactly what they ended up sending me.
Amazing.
2 days later, boo hiss. I guess none of my photos were backed up anywhere. So like my entire digital existence of photos and pictures is gone.
No.
So to tie this together, if there's any hope of saving the story at all by this stage of the game, which I cannot imagine that there is because we're so lost in the corn maze of nobody cares.
Listen, I asked you, and I'm very interested.
All the photos are gone. So I stole photos from a guy off of Facebook who had posted photos. So of course I did what we all do, which is look for photos of myself.
Exactly.
And then shared them so that people would know that we were playing musical chairs on the beach with a bunch of gay men.
Oh, wow.
And with me in a 2-piece cheerleading costume.
I loved it. Okay, so that's why, because I think you were just all over my Instagram, and I was like, oh, he must have just gone on another cruise.
No.
Wait, I can tie all of this back to theater. Ready?
Thank God.
So this, actually, I've been thinking about photos and all this because I just saw this play at New York Theater Workshop called Here There Are Blueberries. Right before I came to Nantucket. What?
Antioxidants.
I know, they're so good for you. I used to not like blueberries. Now that I'm every day with yogurt. But yeah, it's by Moises Kaufman. And I may be a producer on it. So this is because I've been dabbling in producing. So I started on How to Dance in Ohio, which we're very excited is transferring to London, which is very, very exciting.
That's so cool.
Thank you. And now my partner Dan and I are going to work on Othello. And that brings, real quick, today we're talking about stunt casting. And so I'm excited because that one stars Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Great
so
big stars.
Big stars. But yeah, this talking about phones and photos and lost things. So this play Here There Are Blueberries is fascinating. So it's about this woman who works at the Holocaust Museum. And a vet finds an album that belonged to a Nazi officer at Auschwitz. A photo album, and he sends it to her. And at first she just thinks it's a regular one. And then she realizes those photos were at Auschwitz. None of them are about, like inmates or prisoners are in the photos. It's just like his album of like good times on vacation with his buddies, or like good day, like had a great day, and him in his uniform. And it's just like basically this photo album of this Nazi having like the best time working at Auschwitz. And it's a fascinating play. It's by the same guy that wrote the Laramie Project. So it's another like docu-style play. And throughout the play, they project all the photos, and it's just these people having the best time working at Auschwitz. And it's weird when you look at it, because the whole play is, do we humanize them or do we not? It's a really fascinating play because she's like, we're used to seeing Nazis portrayed as like monsters. And here there's this like group of women on the side of a hill eating bowls of blueberries, having like the best time while they're killing hundreds of thousands of people. So, but then I thought about that. I was like, well, because we printed photos then and we put them in albums and we found them. So like, how is that going to be for future generations, for archivists and people studying history? Because ours are all on our phones, and like they could just disappear. And then we won't have plays like Here There Are Blueberries. It'll just be a play about a guy sitting there saying my phone was stolen and there's no evidence of me ever. Like, so, right. Anyway, I mean, not the most like uplifting topic, but your story made me think of this.
Well, I think we can all agree, having heard my reenactment of my experience, that sort of play wouldn't fly. No one's paying money to hear a middle-aged gay man bitch and moan about not having his vacation photos. I don't know. Theater of the living.
Well, I listen.
I can't think that there's a world. Hey, listen, if you like theater, and if you like counting down, and if you like Juddy, and if you like me, and if you like talking smack about all things theater, you got to follow us on social media at Theater Countdown, at Theater with an R-E, because we're sophisticated. And you've got to find us on Twitter/X at Theater Count, because nobody's got time.
Exactly.
And you've got to rate us. You've got to review us, because that's where the real fun lies. And you've got to be a part of our Patreon family and our subscriber base, so we can give you the bonus episodes and invite you into our studio and come on up to see me sometime.
Oh, my.
Support us. It's so cheap. I had a matcha latte this morning that cost twice what you would pay for a month to hang out with us more.
Wow. Was it a good matcha latte, though?
It's good, but is it as good as us?
No. I don't think so.
No, I say to that. No.
Nay. Oh, my.
So I'm going to go see The Wiz tonight, because I have the cast of The Wiz. I have the cast of The Wiz with me at my Broadway sessions tonight. So I'm gonna go to their show, so then try to race them to the venue to try to get there before that. So I strategically bought tickets in the very last row of the orchestra on the aisle. So I will be that person that I particularly hate in the world, who gets up and leaves before the bowing begins, before the curtain call happens. You know, those people who are like, I gotta get to the parking. And I want to, like, if I had like a blow dart for those people, I'd be like, haha, get to your car now, Janice. I'd take her out.
I hope you just like make an announcement, like stand up, be like, I promise I'm leaving for a good reason.
So this is the strategery of it all. So I'm in the very back row on the aisle, so no one will see me go.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
You won't be a Janice. Obviously
I won't
be
a Janice. Yeah. So I'm gonna see The Wiz, which is fun stuff. And last night, do you want to know what I did last night, which was really stupid and fun that I've never done before? So I'm hosting this series of classic campy movies at a movie theater. It was a series that lasted for a really long time in the neighborhood of Chelsea, the gay neighborhood of Chelsea in New York City, which is now surrendered. Has passed its gay baton to Hell's Kitchen as the gayborhood.
Yes.
So now even though it's not in Chelsea, it's so-called Chelsea Classics, and it's in this beautiful dine-in, drink-in movie theater up on the West Side Highway on 57th Street. Anyway, so like the first one we watched Mommy Dearest on the big screen, which is hilarious, and I brought everybody who participated in my like Mommy Dearest trivia game, got a wire hanger, and we just waved them around the entire time.
God. No.
Which apparently the way to get wire hangers is to walk into the local dry cleaners and ask, and they'll give them to you.
Great.
And then last night was Grease sing-along. We watched the Grease movie and sang along. So I wore my pink lady jacket and sat in the theater full of people who were just singing at the top of their lungs with Grease, which was
that sounds magical.
So fun and stupid. But here's my takeaway from it. And maybe this is between me and a vocal coach. But I was trying to sing along with Mr. John Travolta, a.k.a. Danny Zuko. It's really high.
Is it? I've never really thought about that.
It's a high tenor role.
Oh.
Neither had I. I think about the people I know. Like, I think about Max Crumb, who won that reality series and played Danny on Broadway. And I don't remember his voice being sky high. He's got a gorgeous voice. Is his voice that high? I didn't know.
I mean, or was that just for John Travolta for the film? Although, I mean, John Travolta did it. Didn't he do the tour? Or he took over on Broadway? He did it somewhere.
John Travolta had been in productions of Grease prior to the film, but he had never played Danny.
Oh, okay.
Because initially, but now, hold on.
Didn't Richard Gere, too? I feel like I talked to somebody where Richard Gere also was in one of, like, Broadway or tour, or some big production of Grease as well. Also, I don't think it's Danny.
Do you know who was Danny?
Who was
Grease,
Danny?
On Broadway, Peter Gallagher.
Oh, whoa. So a lot of Grease, it's like Hair. Like, I love some of those, like, productions where a lot of famous people came out of that production.
Yeah.
Like, didn't Hair give us Diane Keaton and, somebody else. But I know Diane Keaton. She was in, like, the ensemble of Hair, and that's where Woody Allen found her. Yeah. Or she had a small role. And I think she might have even been, like, a replacement in the original Hair, you know. Wow. But I love those kind of stories, and then they end up becoming big stars.
I'm Shirley MacLaine all over the place. Just be the understudy.
Yeah. But that's okay. So did everybody else in the room also struggle to sing the John Travolta, or?
I don't know, and this is the trick. This is kind of the antithesis of my story about being in the back row of The Wiz. Is I was in the front row of this because I was doing a pre-show situation, so I was had to be in front of everybody. Uh-huh. Weirdly enough, for some reason, there was a film festival happening in the same theater complex, and they were doing Q&As after all of these films, so I didn't have a microphone. So I was in the middle of a movie theater using all of my theater projection training to try to get people to learn the hand jive and answer stupid questions for shots of tequila. So I was in front. I was in front of everybody, so I wasn't in the mix of hearing the strained vocals, which I really would have enjoyed, I think.
I think that would have been very much part of the experience.
I hope so. Otherwise, once again, I need a vocal coaching stat. I need a vocal coaching stat. Anyway, I'll tell you what. Here's who I want to give a shout out to is to every working actor, actress, theater trainee. Well, working on Broadway or anywhere in professional theater, to all of our actor friends who are really keeping up on their vocal health, their vocal technique, their training. And I tell you what, I can't sing 3 lines without losing my voice at this stage of the game. So
I feel you.
I just kind of went, oh, well, I trained to do the thing I'm getting paid to do, and that's not the way to do it. So learn from your uncle, Broadway buddy Ben Cameron, and stick with the fine-tuning of your craft.
Oh, same. When we did the first table read for Sense and Sensibility, I get in there, and I used to have an amazing English accent, because I went to school in London, and we had to do dialect training. Yeah. And I was like, when I was there, people were like, oh, you actually sound like you're from here. And I was like, oh, amazing. Have I practiced it? No. And I walked into that table being like, I'm going to be so good at being British. Nope. I was like, oh, yeah. I sounded like a terrible Liza Doolittle. I was like, what is happening?
You sounded like,
and it was even, I was like, Eleanor.
My British accent sounds like Gilbert Gottfried.
On Hollywood Squares specifically.
Yeah.
I was a mess. I was like, oh dear. I had to go one of the other guys in the cast who has an incredible English accent. And I was like, would you please help me? And he was like, he was in Harry Potter for a long time. And so he was like, oh, don't you worry. Like when we were in Harry Potter, it was like drilled into us. Which then I was like, tell me about Harry Potter like that. He had some good stories from that.
Wait, wasn't it that scandal between the actors? There was some craziness.
Oh, he didn't talk about that, but just like how cool it was to work on that set. You know, and friends, if you haven't seen Harry Potter, like the visuals in that show are just next level. And that set is so cool. And he was like,
so cool.
Yeah. He was like, by the end of the first year, I think I finally felt comfortable like going through the show. Cause he was like, there was just so much on that set, you know, and he was in the ensemble. So he had to be everywhere. And I was like, oh, a
lot of cloak swooshing.
So much capography. I love capography. And now it comes up all over the place. Diana had capography. Limpika had capography.
So much cloak. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying in Sense and Sensibility, we move a lot of chairs, and now it's chairography. I really want a cape, though. I want to swoosh a cape while I move a chair. I think that's
so who's Tommy had a fair amount of cape swooshing as well.
Okay.
All right.
That should be our top 10 capeography we should do at some point. Not today, because today we're doing our top 10 stunt casting. Which or at least our 10 through 6. We should get to.
We have to really get into what the parameters of this are and what this means to us. But Krith, our Thith. Hey, Thith.
Hey,
challenge us,
your time.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Thith.
Hello, Thith. You did it.
We did it. Gosh, it's been such a fun time playing games with you guys this season. We have a couple more episodes left. I have one I want to revisit. We're going to be playing some more Yadorb today, which is Broadway backwards. And we're doing something special for this episode. We're going to be doing productions that are stunt cast inspired. And before we get any further into it, I want to shout out Teresa for helping me out with this one. She did a fantastic job. So round of applause for Teresa.
How about we shout out Teresa for all things, all the time, always.
Yes.
How about that?
Y'all don't know this, but every time we show up. Yeah, I'm like, Teresa, what are we doing? Who am I? What's my social security number? I'm at a gas station. How does this work?
The answer to all our questions lie with Teresa.
I'm pretty sure she did my taxes. But
in fact, last night she clarified for us what time we were recording today in a way that could have sent us into complete chaos.
Exactly. So thank God. And she wears the cutest sweaters. Again, you can't see this, but her style is just on point.
If you like a love heart, you love this sweater.
Yes.
I love it when we paint visual pictures that they can't see. Unless they're watching us on the YouTubes, in which they can't see us, in which case...
Hi. Yes.
All right,
shall we dive in? Let's do it.
We are playing a game. So we're playing Yadorb. The way this works is I'm going to give you. I'm going to be playing for you a snippet. A little bit.
I want a snippet. I need a snippet.
So that's something my dad watches to monitor his walking.
Do you know what a snit is? Wait, do you know what a snit is?
What's a snit?
I think a snit. Oh my God, Ben, don't do this. Don't.
You have to know.
You have to do it.
A snit. I think a snit is. An egg of a tiny little crab-like mite that may find itself on your body.
Okay.
Oh.
Ooh.
And if you ever were to have a scenario like that, adults, then you would need a shampoo to remove the snits.
Well, I'm glad I didn't know that.
Oh my God.
And now I'm realizing that my knowledge of this doesn't make me look very clean. And also, I could be making it up. Let's play this game.
Well,
let's
fun.
Pretend you're not making it up, and that's what it is.
No,
if it's not,
probably,
it is now.
It's you just saw someone else talk about that on Instagram. That's how you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Someone else was having that problem.
Yes.
Not me in Atlantic City when I was 20 years old. No way, no how.
So I'm going to be playing some clips backwards. Your job is just to guess what the song is, but when you guess it, you have to say the order of the words in the song title backwards.
Yes. Okay.
These are going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited about these. So here's the first one.
Oh,
All right.
Okay,
so yeah.
Both reach for the gun.
So.
Oh.
It's okay.
Gun. The four. Reached. Both they.
Let's take a look.
Ranking Anne.
That's it.
Let me hear it.
That one was my favorite one so far.
That was excellent.
That is
I may
very
make that my
excellent.
ringtone somehow. I don't know.
Also,
That's great.
You know
You'll
what?
never answer your phone.
that song is in my head a lot. Of all the songs in the world that like I could be walking down the street and oh yeah will pop into my head quite often.
Well, again, if you're in a hurry, then that's a good one to have in your head because you
Absolutely.
just
Let's
like
pick
you
up the
get faster
pace.
and faster and faster.
Maybe that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. When you're rushing from the whiz to
To get to my own show
Yeah.
about the Wiz.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's the next one.
Is this?
I mean, it sounds like a battle. It sounds like the weirdest like battle scene.
Is it JC Superstar?
It is not JC Superstar.
I mean, it just sounded like people were a slow motion fighting, like a really epic battle. Teresa's nodding, so we're on. It's something to do with fighting, or a battle somewhere. What musicals have fights or about war, and in slow motion? Okay,
Is
thank
it
you for the hint.
The boxing match from Kinky Boots?
Let's
So
have a look.
In
kick
the
me back.
Good shot, but don't get cocky.
I am pretty as Ali and tough as Rocky.
If you're lucky, I might
Ah,
let you.
fun.
There you go.
in this corner.
Oh my god, Kinky Boots. I'll never forget seeing that with my family. My mom was like, that was so fun. My dad was like, well, I didn't fall asleep. I was like,
Oh.
He did not care for Kinky Boots.
He did not.
No, I think it had too much story. After Midnight is his all-time favorite show. He was like, every show should be After Midnight. No story, just like great songs and dancing. And
All
good
right.
vibrations. Anyway,
Fair enough.
next
Fair
one.
enough.
That's I
Next
always
one.
think of Kinky Boots being like, kept me awake.
Here it goes.
It's the coffee of the Broadway canon. I tell you what, I do know is the way every one of these backwards absolutely sounds German.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the way the words go back, but everything sounds like nicht, noch, nicht, doch, dich. It sounds German to me.
Is that,
That being said,
Idiot
I have no idea what that
American?
is. Oh, is it American Idiot? Idiot American?
It is not American Idiot.
Wait, I had an
more
idea,
again.
but can you do it again? Because
I was just thinking of like rock musicals that had big stars.
Oh, it's
And I
Hedwig.
know-
It's Hedwig.
Let's have a listen. It is Hedwig.
Nice.
I've got a sweet tooth for licorice drops and jelly rolls.
A little NPH to start your day.
Nice. Another good stunt casting moment.
Just to get you out the door.
Moving right along, here's the next one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Better do. Can I? This is a very long title of a song.
Ben's just
Why
like
am I-
counting on his
I'm
fingers.
counting on my fingers. Better do. Can I? do, can you
feel like you're just saying
This is a
words.
better brain exercise than Wordle. Like, I should start doing
Did I do
this.
it? It took a while. It was
Let's
real
have
slow.
a listen.
Anything you can say, I can say faster.
I can say anything faster than you.
Okay.
Use again.
Anything
Yeah.
you can do.
Use again.
That
You
was
can
fun
do
backwards.
anything.
Oh wow, that was hard to put together in my brain.
That's a good one.
It's okay. This is not an easy game, unfortunately.
Or fortunate.
Moving right along. Yeah, I just heard it too. What do you think?
What is it? I'm so bad at this
Night,
game.
night, all, have, could,
Oh.
I. Wait,
Wait, Dan. You're missing
I forgot the
dance.
most important word.
I could have all night. I just could have. I could have. You know what?
I'm gonna start saying that.
I could have. I could have
could've.
all night.
All night.
All
All night I could have.
Not all
Fill
day.
in,
I was
fill
tired.
in your own subjects. I
Let's
could
have a
have.
listen.
Night you know you'll never see.
Oh, we're
What
not
a
even.
disruption. What a disruption.
And what's so Cinderella backwards? It's Ella Cinders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bonus points. There you go.
I thought that was Laura Asnes. No, no.
Moving. We have one more to go. Here it goes.
Wait, Beast the and Beauty.
That may be the production.
Oh, that's right. Not only am I bad at this game, I don't play it correctly.
Oh, I know. That's it right there. The ching,
Oh,
ching,
yeah,
ching,
this
ching,
is
ching.
yeah. It's the
Something that wasn't there before.
before. Oh gosh, that's another hard one to say. Something. What's
Oh, it's
the
just
name
called
of that
something there.
song?
There's something.
There's something. This one is correct. There you go.
How has this
So-
not become just a Christmas song?
I was just gonna say.
But my favorite things has. So Raindrops on Roses, like kids freaking out during a thunderstorm is a Christmas song, but this one that has literally like cute little bells is
Jingle
not a
sleigh
Christmas
bells.
song.
100%. I was just thinking it is. If you could play it forward, you could play it backwards. Any way you slice it, Santa Claus is coming to town.
Exactly.
When you hear it,
Yeah.
that's all there is.
And
That's the
yeah,
facts.
and Santa Claus is actually a big candle
beast.
man. A beast. It's a
Oh no,
beast.
he's the beast. Santa's the beast.
He is the beast. And he's gonna
Yeah.
buy you he's gonna take you to a library and dance you. He's gonna buy you a book and you're gonna go, oh.
Because when he's before he's cursed by the evil witch, he is Saint Nicholas, and then when he is transformed, he becomes the hideous Santa Claus.
Yeah, and then he looked at his shadow and there's 6 more weeks of winter, and that is
Yes.
the story of Christmas. That's the original story of Christmas.
Yeah.
Ah, well, I think we've all won.
I think you won, and I got to dance to.
I know, that's it. And I got to dance,
Yeah, I mean,
which is great because in our version, Eliza Doolittle doesn't get to dance. She just gets to do whatever all night.
She just does.
She
She
just-
just exists.
she
And
just
you know what?
does.
I've had those days when just existing was enough.
I could have
You know.
all night.
I could have.
All
Oh,
night.
but that's true. But she didn't. She could have, but she didn't. She was nothing but a whole night of potential.
Unrealized, untapped.
And actually, I can relate to that so much more than the real version. I could have danced all night. True, I've had those nights, but
Sure.
I just could have all night, but then I didn't.
Didn't.
And listen, I'll tell you, last night was one of those nights. Last night was my birthday, actually, and I had
Happy birthday.
yesterday was my birthday. Thank you.
birthday.
And I had all these grand plans because I had some time off from rehearsal, and I was like, I'm going to do so many things, and I did none of them. So I could have, and I didn't.
All
I
night.
was Eliza Doolittle, and actually that works because her name is
She
Doolittle.
do little, do
She
less.
does very little.
Do nothing. Yeah.
She could have, but she did little.
didn't. Are you listening to this? Don't you understand that this is worth your $5 a month on Patreon?
Yes.
This is gold.
Also, I forgot again, social media the other day was apparently a Liza Doolittle day. And it was just pictures of Liza Minnelli just doing very little. And people were like, it's a Liza Doolittle day.
Liza from 1989 on?
Just chilling. It was her like in a coffee shop, her just in a car. And I love that a lot of people jumped on. It was a Liza doing little day.
Who decides that it's a Liza Doolittle day? How does that work?
I don't know, but they were my hero.
There's a day
and she could have, and she didn't.
But we did, and we thank you, Krith, our fifth.
Thank you.
This has been an absolute treasure of time spent.
Yes. I could have all night. But did you? Nope.
It's in the name.
And then it becomes that, what's that song that Kristen Chenoweth did? You could have, but you didn't. So Goodbye. That Joe.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
If. Yeah.
Such fun, catchy lyrics.
But you couldn't, you didn't, but you should have, and you better, and so.
But you do. Goodbye.
I love that
and
song.
Kristen sings the hell out of that song.
Yes.
Yeah.
If.
He doesn't make it.
Your own hieroglyph. If.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a triumph of rhymery.
It really is one of those songs where like some of the lyrics don't really make sense, but they rhyme with if, and it's perfect.
No one speaks about hieroglyphs when talking about a signature.
No. What's the diff?
Right. Oh, what's the diff? It's so good.
Yeah.
Is that your Kristen Chenoweth? Do it again.
If. Was that good?
Yeah,
just the one word.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
that's my Kristen impression.
There it is. All right. It's time
to
talk about our theme today, which is stunt casting in the theater world. And obviously stunt casting is putting a celebrity into a role for the purpose of bolstering ticket sales to benefit or to the detriment of the program.
Yes. Yes. Sometimes it works out wonderfully, and sometimes it's some of the shows that I'm going to talk about.
Here's the thing, though, and I don't know that this is going to alter my countdown, but how do we feel about shows that are launched with celebrities in the leading roles, which are really kind of just star vehicles? Does a stunt casting need to be a replacement?
Oh, because if that's the case,
that's the stunt, but then again, if we were talking about,
if that's the case, I can make this work.
Well, I'm asking, is it stunt casting to bring Hugh Jackman as Peter Allen in The Boy from Oz? Does his presence make it? I want to say maybe that one, not so much, because he was already a theater actor.
Yeah.
So that doesn't feel like a stunt. If some unknown had played Peter Allen and then they revived it with Hugh Jackman, maybe that's a stunt? I don't know, because some of the things on my list are not necessary, or at least that are on my radar, are not necessarily replacements, but most of them are.
So it says, I just Googled the definition of stunt casting, and it is stunt casting is the use of gimmicky or publicity stunt to fill a role in a series, film, or theater production. So
to fill a role,
I guess I guess they could be the ones that open, but I think you have a good point that if it's the person that begins the role, sometimes they just happen to be a movie star.
I'm just going to put in a huge one right off the bat, and I don't know if it's on your list, and if it is, we'll have to just deal with that.
Okay.
But just in a hypothetical situation, do we say that the sold-out blockbuster revival of Hello Dolly starring Bette Midler constitutes a stunt casting?
I guess
once again, she is a theatrical. She was great in that. She is a theatrical presence. She got her start on Broadway. It's not like she's just coming into Broadway as a movie star to They're like, come do this Broadway, Chicago style. Like, we can all agree that, Chicago set the bar for stunt casting after the original production of that Grease revival where they started doing all the stunt casting there. And then Chicago has taken it to the next level and has kept its show alive solely on its stunt casting efforts for the better part of 20 years.
Because I think and maybe because I was thinking like the way I did, at least the first 5 on my list were sort of celebrity castings gone wrong.
Fun.
And because yeah, you're right. I think Bette Midler and Hugh Jackman and stars like that they feel like it doesn't feel like stunt casting because they sort of already had the chops and the experience. Like, they were great for the role, and they just also happen to be incredibly famous, which obviously helps. Yeah. The ones that I was thinking on here either were like a replacement that was just crazy, or somebody who opened the show who really had no business being in that show. But they happened to be incredibly famous. But once the show opened, I think everybody agreed that was not a good decision for the show.
Let's all pretend like we don't know what show you're talking about right now.
The thing is, there's a lot of those. You say that, but there's like a bunch. Or we could do just replacements, in which case I can make that work.
I don't know that it needs to just be replaced. This is open to interpretation, I think.
Okay.
I think.
Shall we just start, and then we'll just see as we go? And then sort of like when we did covers, we can sort of veto each other and have backups just in case.
All right. I will say this before we begin. I think if we're dealing even in opening a production, I think if we're dealing in massive movie star cachet star that does not necessarily have a theatrical background to our knowledge, that may count as stunt casting.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Okay. Here we go.
Because I think my first one, I can do this too. Okay. Where they opened it, but they're not an actor.
I need your guidance. Let's just dive in.
Yeah, let's just do it.
These are our top stunt casting efforts.
Yeah.
I love that we use the word top because we're not necessarily...
Because it's purely our opinion. We are but opining.
Not necessarily saying that we think these are the best. These are the ones that are of most interest to us, maybe. All right, here we go.
These are just the ones that came into my head.
Oh, you
Are they the best? I don't know. Did I have corn? I don't know.
Well, like I said, I'm going to solve that by having lunch with Carol Channing.
Perfect.
And serve nothing but corn souffle.
Perfect. Cornbread.
Easy to chew as well, cornbread.
Yeah, and she's dead, so she's not very good at chewing anymore. It needs to be soft foods.
How dare you just say it like that? I know it's true, but on
I'm sorry, her parade passed by.
Thank you. Thank you. Have some
Have
some homosexual decency, sir.
I'm sorry.
All right. All right, here we go. Number 10.
Number 10.
You.
Oh, I'll go. Sorry. So my first one is between Riverside and Crazy, which co-starred Common. Now, Common, if you know, is a very accomplished performer, rapper, poet, lyricist, musician, like brilliant human. We can all agree. Like Oscar-winning, Grammy-winning, Emmy-winning, all the winnings except for Tony. Incredibly important, brilliant artist. Common was in this play between Riverside and Crazy, and Common's performance. And this is, and I feel like we've been pretty nice. And so I was like, you know what? This is the episode. I'm just going to go. Common's performance was rough. And that was one where I was like, okie dokes. You are an incredibly talented human who has acted in film and TV,
yes,
but theater is a very different beast. And literally would just deliver these sort of flat lines, literally spent half of his performance with his back to the audience.
Like didn't understand the theater craft kind of
like
idea?
Didn't get that there was an audience watching.
Yeah.
And then periodically would sort of just like blow up in a moment. It was bizarre. It was a bizarre performance. It was just so bad. And it was sad because I was like, you're an incredibly intelligent, like brilliant performer. And I don't know what is happening on this stage, but maybe you just should not act in plays. And then also part of that experience was, and this is why I think stunt casting as well, half the audience was clearly there just to see Common.
Yeah.
And every time Common stepped on stage, half of them took out their cell phones and started filming or taking pictures. And I was sitting towards the back of the mezzanine, and it would just be this sea of cameras getting pictures of Common's back. So it was just sort of like a crazy experience where there's like, and there's no reason these people would have seen this play. Like
100%.
it was a play about like a corrupt cop, and it was sort of a dark, gritty New Yorkie play. And those audience members were clearly not there to see the play. They were just there to see Common and to get
100%.
photos and videos of Common. So it was also a wild experience. The man next to me was really drunk and then passed out and then vomited blood. It was a whole thing. And then he was escorted out, and then they brought him back, and it smelled really bad. Can I ask
you, when the phones all came out, was this long enough ago that this wasn't really being cracked down on yet? Or was
I think it was happening so much that the ushers just stopped caring. If that makes sense. There was nothing they could do about it. You know, it was sort of like 4 ushers to a couple hundred people with phones. And the little flashy flashlight thing to be like, put your phone away, it would have been like strobe lights. So I think they were like, wow, this is just what happens at this play. And so that's why that to me feels like a stunt casting thing. Even though he opened it, everyone in that team must have been like, whoa, what's happening?
That is absolutely a stunt cast. That is taking a celebrity, that is inserting a celebrity into a theatrical part solely based on celebrity in hopes of selling tickets, and that's the stunt, right?
So, and that was kind of a rough one. That absolutely
counts.
And I saw that with a friend who doesn't see very much theater, and afterwards he was like, that was not good, right? And I was like, no, that was not good.
but good for you that you got that friend.
Yeah. That's that one.
Okay.
I'm glad we think that counts, because that's going to be a theme here.
100%. I think it does count, because I think it is inserting celebrity for the sake of selling tickets, not necessarily.
And a celebrity who was not equipped for this role. It was a 100%. Tough role, and he just I felt kind of bad for him. Like he was working hard, but like, oof.
It is so different, and that's why people and celebrities, movie celebrities in particular, are drawn to and equally terrified of Broadway, because it is considered so legitimate, because that's where you really have to have your chops as an actor and as an artist to pull it off live 8 times a week in a breathing, living animal, rather than just hoping for the best and get one good take out of that and you're on your way. That's why celebrities want to come in and do this, because they want to prove themselves, I think, on some level.
Yeah.
And they want the cachet.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that just wasn't the right choice. Maybe Common would be better in something else. Maybe it was just not the stars didn't align on that one.
Everyone's frozen.
So, all right, you're number 10.
Oh, great. Everyone froze for me, but are we back? Everything's fine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to go the opposite way and sort of contradict what I set up in the beginning, but I do think this counts, because it's a revival.
Okay.
Also, I'm excited to hear your list, because in my research for this episode, going back, and if we're getting into like movie celebrities who wanted to do Broadway in a straight play realm, now we're talking about a catalog that is so vast.
Yeah, well, that's huge, the thing.
As opposed to celebrities who wanted to be in musicals on Broadway or the West End.
That's true.
That trims it an awful lot. But when you're talking about, like, for your Othello that's coming up, right?
Yeah.
Is that stunt casting? Those are 2 really good theater actors.
Well, that's true. That's why I don't know if that counts as stunt casting, because Denzel and Jake are very good on stage. Or that's right. So that's why I mean, like, to me, like, Common, that feels like very clearly you were put in this play because you were there to sell tickets. Yeah. So. Yeah. And that's the thing. I picked a lot of plays. I also, for my list, picked ones, all but one of these, at least in this 5, were ones I saw. Right. So then I can speak to, like, this experience felt like a stunt casting experience.
Right.
And I will forever remember it. Common, I will always remember that performance. Also remember the man next to me vomiting blood. That's another story when we do, like, audience member countdown. But that was just a wild night. So, yeah.
It's crazy. All right, good. So
it was between Riverside and crazy.
It was between Broadway and help. I'm going number 10, musical theater. And this is a glowing example of stunt casting, I think, that surprised us all. And it kind of twice for this production. But I am going to go with, at that time, Daniel Radcliffe in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Nice.
Broadway revival. Yes, he did open it. They brought it in because he was available to do it. I think that Daniel Radcliffe, it seems to me, as he is currently Tony nominated, seems to me to have this really interesting life and career because nothing he will ever do will measure up to the success of what he did what he is famous for.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like when I look at the moves Daniel Radcliffe makes, I think he's really trying to be an artist and just be more than just the boy who lived,
mm-hmm.
and is doing so in a way to let everybody know I am an actor, people.
Yeah.
So he does these like really crazy screwball comedies, and he'll do like that
Weird
Al
Al
Yankovic thing, but then
Yeah.
he'll do these like really dark period dramas that are on serial television, and so I think it was really cool that he chose to headline a musical that is kind of the perfect musical for him to headline.
To do, yeah.
And the big surprise for everybody in that production was that Daniel Radcliffe is a hell of a dancer. That he was a really, really good dancer in it. And he sounds fine, just like he does in Merrily We Roll Along. He just sounds kind of scratchy and fine and sounds like Harry Potter's dad talking, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, because it's not a role. J. Pierpont Finch is not a role that needs a big vocal. And let's look at the people, we're talking about Robert Morse, who was
Matthew
a
Broderick.
personality and a goofball.
Yeah.
And Matthew Broderick, which also really good stunt casting.
Yeah.
So to Matthew Broderick as well. It just worked out great. It brought a lot of people who wouldn't come to the theater into the theater, and he took it seriously, and he had the chops to do it, and he kind of put everyone on its ear, and then, does Equus on Broadway, and is doing a Sondheim show out of the sheer love for Sondheim, all while having this presence elsewhere. It's kind of fun and daring, and he was really, really good in it. I will say, I did see Nick Jonas in the same revival who replaced Daniel Radcliffe. Another stunt casting moment. Also, very, very good.
Well, I think we forget the Jonas Brothers are musical theater kids. Weren't they Paper Mill? Didn't they all do that Paper Mill youth training?
I'm pretty sure Nick Jonas was Chip in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
He was.
We forget that some of these pop stars, like Ariana Grande, were musical theater kids.
Listen, though, I will say this, and this is just between you and me and the wall.
All right.
Thought that Nick Jonas was really good in How to Succeed. Did not enjoy Nick Jonas being Marius in the Les Mis concert.
Yeah.
That was painful.
Yeah. That wasn't right.
But that felt very stunty. We're like, the star of this is Les Mis, celebrating 5,000 years or whatever it was. And we didn't need to watch him struggle to make any sort of open-throated vocal happen. And that's what we watched.
Yeah.
Oof. Not looking at anybody else. If you ever watch it, it's kind of weird. But he was great in How to Succeed, but not quite as great as Daniel Radcliffe. That's my number 10. Whoa, nice. I did it.
I love it. This is perfect because my number 9 is Daniel Radcliffe as well.
Shut the front door.
It's Daniel Radcliffe in Equus. And that was, and again, I'm talking about the ones that kind of went wrong because that's where my brain went. Well, like stunt performances I saw that I remember because of just how sort of epically wrong things went. So, or not entirely, but, so Equus, so you talk about Daniel Radcliffe, and I want to talk about Daniel Radcliffe, I'm so glad you did, because I feel like his trajectory, like you say, has been great. Like, I love that he came out of Harry Potter just, like, swinging for the fences, and he was like, I'm gonna prove that I am an actor, and I am not just Harry Potter, and I'm gonna do all these different things, and to watch his progression from Equus to Merrily, like, you're right that he takes it seriously, and he clearly just sort of gets better with every show.
Yeah.
But Equus. I saw it with my family for Christmas because weirdly, my mom's a psychologist and Equus is her favorite play.
Yeah.
And I think she saw it, the original production and the movie and loved it. So she was so excited to see it. And the rest of the cast was all like very seasoned, acclaimed theater actors. There's Richard Griffith, who had won the Tony for History Boys. Genius in History Boys. And then Daniel Radcliffe, and it was his first play. And you gotta say, like, whoa. Like, you're going from Harry Potter to, like, your first show's gonna be Equus. Okie dokes, let's buckle up, kids. And much like with Common in Riverside, more than half that audience was wearing Harry Potter t-shirts.
100%.
They very clearly had no idea what Equus was. They were just there to see Harry Potter. And that's why, to me, that just felt like such stunt casting.
Yeah.
And the poor guy, like, that Equus is a tough play. For anybody, that is a tough play. And the sad thing about that was, by the time they had already done it in the West End, they did it on Broadway, by the time I saw it, the rest of the cast was very aware that the audience was there just to see Harry Potter. And so I have never seen actors just walk through a show so much as the other actors on that stage, except for Daniel Radcliffe, who was like giving it. And one thing I would give him, the amount of energy. He was working really hard. And then at intermission, more than half that audience left, because I think they were there to see Harry Potter, and then what they saw was Equus. And if you don't know, Equus is about, like, a young man who's disturbed, who, like, gouges out the eyeballs of horses. Yeah. It is a dark, weird, abstract play. And he does a full nude scene in it. Like,
I think that is the other side. Riddle me this, Batman. Is that nude scene in the first act or the second act?
But it's in the second act, and a lot of them, that's how sort of rough this was, that, like, half that audience left before the nude scene even happened.
Yeah, because there was a lot of buzz about that.
Him
about
being naked.
Him being naked and his little man boy body.
Yeah. But anyway, so again, that was another celebrity stunt casting gone wrong. However, I do love Daniel Radcliffe, and it's been fun sort of like seeing that he was like, I think he took Equus, and I love that. I think a lot of celebrities will go to Broadway, have a bad experience, and then they never come back. Because it's like, I think it's embarrassing. You know, if you're an acclaimed movie star and then you bomb in a play, I think you're like, well, screw that. I never want to do that again. And I love that Daniel Radcliffe was like, no, like, yeah, that was rough. So let me try another one. And his next one was a Martin McDonough play. And he was actually pretty good in that. And then he did How to Succeed. And he was great in that.
What was the play? Lieutenant of Inishmore? Was that what it was?
No, he did Cripple of Inishmore. And I saw that, and he was actually...
Potato.
He was good in... I was like, oh, he's much better in this.
Lieutenant of Shma.
Yeah, I love Martin McDonough. But Equus, I will always remember, as I was just like, I'm at the Harry Potter show, and this is just a weird experience. And this poor guy, like, that someone said, sure, you can do this. And I don't think he was set up for success in that play. But he's only gotten better. And now look at him, he's in Maryland. He's killing it. So good for him.
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe.
I really like him, but I will never forget seeing that play and being like, whoa.
No, it sounds like an absolute crazy waking nightmare.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like to me. All right. I'm going to go. All right. Let's talk about stunt casting in Waitress, the musical.
Oh.
First and foremost, for whatever reason in my brain, I can't consider Sarah Bareilles stepping into the role that she wrote a stunt. I don't think of it as a stunt. She was good at it. Uh-huh. It's her musical that she wrote. Something about that cancels her out as the stunt cast for me. Is this going to be on your list?
It's not on my list, but I feel like it is because she never intended to do it originally, right? Or maybe she did and they were planning on just putting her in eventually. But that was a big deal. It was when she stepped into that.
Oh yeah, and it made the show a hit.
Yeah.
But to that end, I am going to give a stunt cast to one of the Jenna stunts.
I mean, you have to.
It's not going to be.
That show really did it.
It's not going to be Sarah Bareilles, but I just love this person so much. Okay, so let's see. Who else went in and stunt cast? Catherine McPhee went in there for a while.
Jordan
Sparks.
Jordan
Sparks, who I've seen, she used to be Mines, and it's pretty wonderful.
Oh,
she's actually on my list. But I love... and she also did a stint in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And she did an entire album of show tunes because she just loves theater and she's in a lot of movies. I'm giving it to Jennifer Nettles. In Waitress. Nice. Is my number 9. She's a country gal with a full-blown country twang. Uh-huh. I kind of respect her career. She did a short stint as Jenna. Okay. It wasn't terribly long comparatively. Uh-huh. Which was like, I'm going to dip my toe, I'm going to get in, I'm going to get out. But she was singing She Used to Be Mine on concert tours. Long before, because she just loved the song.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
she just loved the song, and
song.
she just loves theater. And she was in the latest Exorcist movie. She's the mom. She's like always hosting things on TV. And if you're not familiar with Sugarland, the band that she hails from, it's country music that's really freaking cool. It's really fun. But she's got a killer voice.
Okay.
And Jennifer Nettles. And she's in everything on TV and movies these days too. But Jennifer Nettles is Jenna. And just as I mentioned, she also did a stint in Chicago, and I can't really place which Roxy or Velma, which one she did, or if she did it here or if she did it on the West End. But Jennifer Nettles,
nice
from Sugarland, country singer.
I love that. Well, you keep setting me up perfectly, because when you said Sarah Bareilles in Waitress, like a writer stepping into their own show, my next one was Sting in Last Ship. Which we've talked about before. I loved Last Ship. And I saw it when Sting went into it, and it was such a weird, it was like, that's one where it was great and how bizarre it was, because Sting, like, cannot act. And one of the great things about Sting is that, like, when he sings, like, truly you can't understand a word that man says. And he's got that weird...
Yeah.
Exactly. But and he was so stiff, and like the cast was just kind of moving him around the stage, but he has such like a great presence, and all those songs are Sting songs, so they just sounded great coming out of him. It was just one of those, I was like, this is so strange, but I'm having the best time. And it kind of went with the whole evening of just what's going on, but he was fantastic to watch. And I objectively, was it a good performance? Probably not, but was it wildly entertaining? Yes, it was. And so I will just never forget Sting in Last Ship on Broadway. And I think it's when the show wasn't doing well, and so he stepped in to like boost sales, and it worked. And and it was just, so that's one of those stunt casting moments that I loved. I had the best time at that. That's my Last Ship story.
Nothing could be more desperate than in that moment. I feel like that somehow, although it's the exact same scenario, feels very far away from Sarah Bareilles stepping into Waitress.
Yes.
It's like Sting going like, the Bruce is going like,
bro,
there's only one option to keep this open, sir.
Yeah.
And you know what it is. Don't make me say it. And it's like, all right, love. It's my Sting impression.
I don't know. It.
All right, love. It's kind of breathy, kind of tantric. And he's like, I don't really know it. And they're like, it doesn't matter, Sting. It doesn't matter. Just get out there and yodel.
Like, and they put him in this fabulous leather jacket. He looked great. So it really did just kind of feel like you were at a Sting concert with some other people on stage. And that was, so fun. But yeah, you're right. Very different from Sarah Bareilles in Waitress.
Number 8 on my end. Definitely saw this in theaters. This was very good. And when I saw the announcement of this casting, I thought, hot damn, they have done it. This makes all the sense in the world. Unstoppable perfection. And I can't say that it lived up to my expectations, but she was very, very good. Raven Simone going into Sister Act.
Oh, that's a good one.
Raven Simone replaced Bettina Miller in Sister Act. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, because that role is so campy, goofy, physical comedy, yuck, broad strokes, comedy stuff. And think about that. So Raven, you know, it was that heightened Disney level of acting where everything's like, what do you say? Faces and all that. So I kind of expected her to just be like the hammiest ham that ever hammed. And instead she just did a really lovely job and sounded really good and was just like a lovely Broadway leading lady and looked fantastic. So mad props to Raven Simone, although I think she could have pulled a few more fart jokes, I think, with her face. But it was good casting. I don't know how much it helped. I don't know how much it helped their box office. Surely they got a boost. She's kind of omnipresent though, isn't she?
I think so.
She's always somewhere. Doing something.
And one of those names that we all know. Like, whether you grew up with her or not, weirdly, you're like, Raven Simone. Yeah. Like...
Yeah.
There was the one joke, it's like killing 2 birds with one Raven Simone. Like...
It's just like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad you're picking ones that went well, since I'm picking ones that I just... Because, again, how we were like the top. These are not the top. These are just my personal top experiences with stunt casting.
I love it.
Minus a couple other ones.
I'll yang, you yin. It's good.
Perfect. Because the next one, oh my gosh. And again, I'm being so catty and mean in this episode, but here we are. The next one is Uma Thurman in The Parisian Woman.
I did see it. I did see Uma Thurman in The Parisian Woman.
Right. And I don't know what your experience is like, but I walked out of that. I had the best time at that play for all the wrong reasons. That was a thoroughly entertaining show for completely unintentionally, for me at least. And I walked out, and that was one play though where I walked out. I was like, movie stars should have to audition. Like, that was one I was like, they should have to audition. And don't get me wrong, I love Uma Thurman. Right. I am a big Uma Thurman fan. But wowza. And that play also, like, so The Parisian Woman was this, like, political... Yeah. Supposed to be kind of dramedy about these people trying to survive in DC. She's the wife of... Like, it was written by the same guy who wrote, I want to say, House of Cards. Okay. So somebody who, like, knows how to write... Like that. A DC drama, you know, everyone associated was big. Pam McKinnon, Pam. Anyway, huge director directed it. Like, great people working on this. Uma Thurman starring Philippa Sue and Luca. Oh crap, what's his name? Anyway, great cast. So I was so excited to see it, and then I was just like, what's happening? And you could see, like, even I went and watched the trailer for it, because it's on YouTube. You can watch it, the trailer for this play, and they really don't show Uma Thurman in the trailer. They show her, but she's never talking until the very end of the trailer. And the line they have, it's like, yep, that was her performance. It's so just like, I love you too, darling. And that is why I love you. And it's just like, what was happening? That was the one, the whole show was like, oh my God, girl.
Who was the Brenda, Brenda double, it was a double B. The woman.
Somebody, and again, everybody else on that stage was like very good seasoned stage actors. And then I don't know what she was doing, but I was like, whoa, I think she's having fun.
Yeah.
That was one of those performances where if you see her after, if they're like, how was it? You'd be like, you should have seen it from my angle. Or like, you were on that stage and you had enthusiasm. That was one of those. But yeah, that I will never forget the Parisian
I saw
Woman.
You up there.
I did. You wore costumes. That would have been one of those. Again, a true stunt casting that I was just like, oh no.
Well, that's fun because now I want to. Where am I at 7 now?
Yeah.
7. I'm gonna give it to one that I think was successful.
Okay, good.
But I want to take this moment to shout out something that was so awful I'll never recover, and that was the stunt casting of Jerry Lewis into Damn Yankees in the 90s, because it was as Applegate, it was Victor Garber and Bebe Neuwirth.
Yeah.
Were the headliners for that Damn Yankees revival. Victor Garber left and Jerry Lewis came in, and that's who I saw live. And of course, they had changed the playbill to just be a big picture of Jerry Lewis with devil horns, which we learned later about him in his life seemed very fitting. Turned out he was like a horrible person. But it just... They left the show behind in its entirety, in my opinion, to let Jerry Lewis mug to the audience and make Jerry Lewis jokes. Lady! Do all the old Jerry Lewis stuff that was not in the script. So they just wanted him to be able to be Jerry Lewis and not to be confused with Jerry Lee Lewis. And it just, as I was a teenager and I loved the show and I loved the music, and he ruined it for me.
Oof.
And yet every time he stopped the show to turn to the audience and make a Jerry Lewis one-liner, the audience went up. They loved it. So was a successful find. But what I think was successful, as we were looking down at the revival of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, I'm not going to say that Neil Patrick Harris was stunt casting. For some reason, he feels like a Broadway veteran to me.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
From what I hear and did not see, the Taye Diggs stunt casting as Hedwig was not quite as successful.
Okay.
But Darren Criss is my pick. Darren Criss going into Hedwig. That's right to me. I feel like that was a talent meets the right guy for the job moment. So you have many Hedwigs to choose from. Andrew Rannells was up in that piece, and he had done it before, kind of regionally as well. Andrew Rannells was really good, but Darren Criss, kind of at the height of his becoming a celebrity beyond Glee, stepped in and was really good as Hedwig.
That's what I heard. He was incredible.
Yeah, and then toured with it.
That's right. He did do the tour.
Yeah. Which was
and now
fun
he's coming back to the Broadway in a new.
He is coming back
musical.
to the Broadway. Yes. What is that musical?
It's supposed to be about like AI or robots or something. Michael Arden is directing it. It looks really cool.
Yeah. That's my number.
Good choice. And again, thank you for picking nice ones. My number 6. This is one where it's an incredibly. You'll tell me. And I think this is still stunt casting, but this is an incredibly talented person who always deserves to be on Broadway. It's Liza Minnelli, but it's when she stepped into Victor Victoria.
It was only a matter of time.
And again,
it was only a matter of time.
You knew I was going to pick this.
Yes, of course.
And again, I put this in the top 5 because I know I was such a Debbie Downer on this one, picking ones where I was just like, this person is like really famous and it really bombed. Because I want my top 5 to be more like, those are going to be my positive ones of like, this is when it went really well.
Great.
So that was my own personal parameters. So this one again, though, I love Victor Victoria. We've talked about this because it was my first Broadway show I ever saw. And so for me, it will always have a special place. And Julie Andrews was going through a lot of vocal issues during the show, and she stepped out for a month to go on vocal rest, and Liza Minnelli took over for her. And this feels like I'd want to know who chose that. Because if you don't, I love Liza, and I feel like this was yet again another celebrity who was not set up for success.
Right.
Because Victor Victoria is about a down-and-out opera singer who can hit a high note and shatter glass, like Julie Andrews can, and then becomes, in the 1930s in France, meets a gay club performer and pretends to be a drag queen. And the whole shtick is it's like, not only does this quote-unquote drag queen look very feminine, but can also sing extraordinarily high, and that's the act. Right. Now, Liza Minnelli is not exactly a soprano. No. Like, Homegirl's just like a belter. And as I recall, I think they did the whole like glass shattering thing is that she just sang so loud and her vibrato broke the glass. Like, it was a real stretch. And also she's supposed to like, I get the whole like Liza passing as this sort of androgynous person. Because Julie also like, obviously looks like a woman, but with the short hair and the talks kind of could pass as a very pretty man. And Liza kind of the same. But like, just a strange casting choice. And from the moment it started, it was just like apparently just a mess. Like Liza was struggling personally at the time, so she didn't know her lines and she was just ad-libbing all over the place. And I think she was apparently like drinking during the show. Yeah. Tony Roberts just couldn't take it, and Tony Roberts was also starring in, and he just like left. He kept calling out of shows because he just didn't want to deal with it. And even though it was only a month, it was apparently like a raucous month that she was on that stage. And I mean, I'm sure you know stories from this production as well. Like, but it's kind of an infamous moment. And then Julie obviously like came back to the show. And actually that's when I saw it, was when Julie came back from her rest. But whoa. And you can see it's on YouTube and it's like Liza. And it is one of those stunt castings where it's like, this was a poor decision. And you did not set this poor person up to do well in this. So
I think they looked as far as like, let's look at the age range here of cinematic Broadway divas. Okay, that's as far as they were like, there's a parallel here on some level. At least it will seem to be a parallel on some level to the layman.
Yeah. And then eventually Raquel Welch took over. Talking about, again, a show with stunt casting. Raquel Welch took over the show when Julie left. And apparently did very well, actually. Which is fascinating to think that anyone would think Raquel Welch was a man. Because
she is the epitome of womanhood.
Yeah. So that show was riddled with strange stunt casting. But the poor Liza one, I think, is one of the most sort of infamous stunt casting moments. I don't think that was a proud moment for Liza. But her fans went and supported her, and then Julie came back.
And everyone survived just barely. The story that I heard about the dresser her dresser being for changes or had to be on the set, and if there was a moment where the set turned around or something and she went behind the set, he was there for her with a cigarette and possibly illicit substances, and was charged with giving her a cigarette and giving her a bump and talking her out of her panic attack that she was currently having on stage to get her back up to get her to make her next entrance.
Poor Liza.
I have heard that it was an absolute train wreck.
Yeah. And it's on YouTube, parts of it. You can go watch it.
Well, don't think I'm not going to now. Don't be ridiculous.
The Jazz Hot.
Okay.
Bring us home, hopefully with a nice one. Again, I'm sorry. Again, I'm such a Debbie Downer this episode.
Welcome to the dark side.
I'm just like, I'm that catty guy with T being like, did you see Uma Thurman in The Parisian Woman? Celebrity should have to audition too.
I'm going to speak.
I'm that guy.
It's
talking
all
from
subjective.
my high horse.
I'm just so glad that you're talking about the plays, because I'm a musical theater person through and through, and I cannot tell you that I went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts to study the craft of acting. So
but you've been on Broadway.
Well, wonderful. That's super. But I go to plays. Can I just get real with y'all? I go to plays, and sometimes I sit there and I go, I need to make sure that I pretend like I absolutely understand what's going on, because I can't be the guy who's called Ben Does Broadway and not pick up on the play, but sometimes it feels like it's left me behind. So with that in mind, I thought Uma was perfectly lovely in The Parisian Woman.
Oh.
But I also don't feel like I know what I'm looking at. So there you go. Okay. Now, if you want to hear more about my incompetency, you've got to make sure you follow us on our socials at Theater Countdown, Theater with an R-E, Theater Count on X, Twitter. Rate and review us. Oh, give a shout out to my friend Joseph, who just did a post about us on Facebook. Who we enlightened him. We blew his mind with Whitney Houston singing "I Know Him So Well" from Chess, and he's very much enjoying listening to us. So thank you, Joseph, for that. We love you, buddy. Mm-hmm. With that, and follow us on Patreon. We're desperate for your support.
Yes. That's where Ben gets to really unleash, and it's great.
It's really disgusting. Number 6. Now I'm like, where do I go with this? I'm gonna have to draw a name out of a hat here, because like you, my number 5 is gonna be devoted to some real quality. I think.
I'm so excited for my number 5. Really, I'm just building up to my number 5.
But I think that I'm going to give this number 6 spot to. Can you believe it? Can you even handle it? I'm going to give it to, who do I want to choose? I'm going to give it up for...
There's just so many.
I know there are. What I had
Sally
written down
Struthers
was
everything.
Everything in Greece. Rosie O'Donnell is the cat in the hat in Seussical, which is the thing that happened. Rosie O'Donnell's been stunt cast twice.
Yeah. And God love Rosie. Rosie did amazing things for the musical theater. But
she did. But
maybe
they put her in Seussical, they put her in Fiddler on the Roof. Wild.
Oh, Fiddler.
Wild stuff. And I think now I lost my train of thought, so I'm starting over.
Sorry.
I'm thinking again. No, it's fine. Oh, I wrote down Antonio Banderas.
Oh, in 9?
In 9.
Ooh.
As a stunt cast.
Okay.
But I based on my own parameters, I don't know if that fits.
I don't know if that counts, because, well, he hadn't done a musical in, I think, a very long time.
He was a major movie star and heartthrob.
And then, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and then was fabulous in 9. And,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Then
I think that counts.
Antonio Banderas in the revival of 9.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm going. Antonio Banderas, who for a very long time was rumored to have been the choice to play the Phantom in the Phantom of the Opera film that was ultimately played by Gerard Butler. So well done, Antonio Banderas. And then he was doing, he was produced that chorus line in Spain in Spanish.
Yeah. That he starred in.
Brings me to another stunt casting is when they moved Mario Lopez in to play Zach in a chorus line. let that wash over you, Mario Lopez. Which apparently got very weird. You need to get on Patreon because I have the inside scoop and I'm going to save it for that. But I'm giving you Antonio Banderas, but just because we have a guest on our next episode, which we're very excited about. Yeah. But can I just share with you this quick list of people who have been in Chicago on Broadway? I'm just going to rattle it off just so we all know kind of the depth of the stunt casting that has been Chicago the Musical.
Is this not Broadway. Just your number one? Is just...
No. That Antonio Banderas was my number 6. But these are people who have actually started Chicago, which I just... Like, the sheer scope. Pamela Anderson, Wayne Brady, Brandy, who was apparently a revelation, Christy Brinkley, who was apparently absolutely terrible, Mel B from the Spice Girls, Candy from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, original great. Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, played Mama Matron Morton, Maxwell Caulfield, Billy Ray Cyrus has been in Chicago the Musical, our beloved Paige Davis, Cara DioGuardi, who was on American Idol, Sandy Duncan, Erica Jane, Cuba Gooding Jr., who went like nuts while he was playing Billy Flynn on Broadway and like embarrassed himself at the Tony Luncheon, Melanie Griffith, George Hamilton, Michael C. Hall, Todrick Hall, Melora Hardin from The Office, Mary Lou Henner, Jennifer Holliday, Nene Leakes, that's insane to me, Huey Lewis, John O'Hurley, Vincent Pastore from The Sopranos, Brian McKnight.
Like the list.
I mean, it just goes on and on. Of people. Kevin Richardson from the Backstreet Boys, Lisa Rinna.
So many housewives.
It's just Brooke Shields, Ashley Simpson, who in the UK was apparently an incredible Roxy. Freaking Jerry Springer, Patrick Swayze.
Jerry Springer.
Sofia Vergara, Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child, Wendy Williams, Rumor Willis. Why? Chandra Wilson, Tom Wopat. Like, it's just insane. And that's Jeepers. Like, that is an outdated list, too. That's a list from years ago. So we're not even up to the Ariana, whatever her name is, from Vanderpump. All right, fine. Although that's a lot of stunt casting.
That's a lot of stunt casting.
And you know what stunt casting is?
That's showbiz. Kid. No. All right, on that note, I have to run to rehearsal, which that's showbiz, kid.